To mark 1 year of the killing of terrorists and a wanted man and a Khalistani sympathizer, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, are a confirmed Khalistani. In fact, as far as the Indian authorities are concerned, the Canadian Parliament honoured by standing up for a moment in silence in the House of Commons on Tuesday. Nijjar, the chief of the Khalistan Tiger Force, was killed in a shooting in Canada's Surrey, outside British Columbia Gurdwara on the 18th of June last year. His name was on the list released by the government of India with 40 other designated terrorists. He has repeatedly been denied entry into Canada, and by fraudulent and other means he had tried to continue to move into Canada. And those are videos that have been accessed by CNN News 18 where he is brandishing an AK-47, which is against the gun laws of Canada itself, and he is doing target practice and training other terrorists. This secessionist, this terrorist, he is somebody who's been commemorated by the House of Commons there. Have they ever stood up in memory of those who were killed by these very Khalistanis in the Kanishk bombings? Or has that all been forgotten? The Indian Embassy is going to commemorate that on Sunday. But Sushant Sareen, as he stays on with us, what's happening with the Canadians? Or have the Khalistani elements, have these elements, these gangster, drug lords, terrorist elements, made their foray or entrenched themselves so deep within the Canadian polity?
So, Anand, what do you make of a parliament which not long back actually felicitated a Nazi? And everybody stood up in that parliament and were rapturous about a Nazi who had killed I don't know how many people. So if that parliament is now commemorating another terrorist, a notorious terrorist at that, a man, a violent man, a man who called for killings of all kinds of people and who justified it, and a despicable man and a despicable lot of people who support this man. If that parliament is now commemorating him, I'm not in the least surprised. All that I'm waiting for is that the Canadian Parliament will one day, the day a certain group of people has enough votes, they will commemorate Osama bin Laden. They will hold a moment of silence for Osama bin Laden. They will hold a moment of silence for the chief of Hamas, who's responsible for the massacres of October 7. And for all you know, the Canadians under Justin Trudeau might even actually hold a moment of silence for Hitler one day, assuming that there are enough number of people with an ideology or German origins who vote for them. So that's the level to which the Canadian Parliament has sunk. And frankly, this is a common problem in most of these white countries like Britain and Canada and Australia and the United States. But Canada is terrible on this. But I think we have also been remiss. I don't see why we have soft pedaled this issue of Canada and kept it at a very nice level.
See, Canada is part of the Five Eyes, Sushant Sareen. So let me ask you this. Is America playing a very dangerous game with Bharat, where it bats with Bharat against the PLA vis-a-vis Tibet and Taiwan is concerned, but it uses Canada to once again bat and try and finger India?
Anand, America has always played these games, and even as we speak, they're not only playing this game on the issue of Khalistan and China, but they are also, it now seems, doing their utmost to prop up Pakistan in one form or another, right? Whether it is by sanctioning them IMF loans, despite the fact that economically they've not delivered on the goods. Despite that, the Americans are pushing for an IMF loan. The Americans are trying to push, for things to give them some relief because apparently they claim to be fighting terrorists. Giving them a lot of audience inside America on these issues. There is some talk that there might be weapon transfers also. So they're doing it with the Pakistanis. So Americans always play these games. And one of the reasons why they play these games is because we are not ready to become a subservient state. We are not ready to become a subordinate state to the Americans. And they have not understood that India can be a great partner. India can be a great ally also in some ways. But India is not going to become a slave nation like, Britain or some other countries have been, in Europe have been. We are not going to do that.
Right.
We have too much of a baggage to be able to do that. Individuals might do it. Individuals in India do it. Individuals in India will hanker for an invitation from the American embassy or a junket from the US Congress or
Correct.
money from American foundations to run their own shops out here. Individual Indians have always betrayed this country, and many of them will do it.
Right.
But I think India as a country will never let
Now
that
we'll
happen.
have to wait and see how many turn up and how many from actually the opposition also turn up, and from within the government also who disagree with what was done in the Canadian House of Commons turn up on Sunday when the martyrs and those who died in the Kanishk bombings, their death is commemorated, that attack is commemorated by the Indian embassy. Thank you very much, Sushant Surrey. Winding up the right stand on that note, brass tacks follows.